Welcome to episode 5 of the 15-Minute Coffee Podcast with Brandon Salazar, your go-to destination for expert perspectives and valuable insights from the world of business. Today, I'm here with Aidan Ouckama, a notable computer science TikToker, software engineer at DoorDash, intern at DoorDash, and startup founder. Now, before we get into the questions, I would like to thank Aidan for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right, so let's start with, can you share a little bit about your background and journey to becoming who you are today?
Of course. My name's Aidan, and I'm a sophomore at the Stevens Institute of Technology. I'm majoring in computer science. There's a long road that led me up to computer science. It all started when my parents accidentally put me in a robotics camp over the summer because they're both busy, couldn't really take care of me. So I just chilled over there, and we worked on these things called like Lego EV3 robots. And I was the software part, so I just fell in love with it from then on. Past that, I just went to high school, started doing web development, game development, stuff like that. And that's what led me to major in it. So now I'm here.
That's pretty interesting. So it's funny because I got introduced to coding and robotics in the same way a little later on in my life, like in sophomore year of high school. And I know
Uh,
exactly what you're talking about those little robots because we would actually go to middle schools and elementary schools and demonstrate how to use those. So that's pretty crazy how.
that's awesome. We did with the robots, we actually did like soccer bots where they would play soccer against each other. Did you guys do that? There's like an infrared ball and stuff.
We actually didn't, but all I know, and it's funny because in high school I didn't really code, but
Hmm.
I would see there was always be a lot of problems with building it and then getting the actual robots to move because no one really knew how to program them at that point.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
so tell me about the startup you're founding.
The pipeline startup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk a little about that. So that also started from like strange beginnings. Same thing with like the robotics thing. So I started that as just a project, like a solo project. I was just gonna put in like a bunch of buzzwords and put it on my resume and just be done with it. Um, but then I introduced the idea of like career pipelines. Okay, well, I didn't come up with the idea. That's been like an ingrained sort of thing in the CS community where they talk about like Amazon, Google pipelines and they're applying and stuff. But I pitched the idea of making a website around it, and there's a lot of people that wanted to join in. So I picked out like four of them, added them to the pipelines team, quote unquote. And yeah, now we're building it all together. It's been a really cool experience, to be honest, like working on a team with people that have the same like scope of the idea of the project and like building it. It's been really cool.
And is your goal to be profitable?
Um, it didn't start like that. So it's kind of weird transitioning into doing stuff like that, like building a business model around it. I mean, I guess that's the goal of every business or startup to become profitable. But as of right now, I think we're just having fun with it and pitching it to people and seeing what the community thinks about it as of right now.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if you've heard of it's like a small, I wouldn't say startup. It's called Blue Hand Coding. I believe they're from Virginia, no, Georgia Tech. It's like,
Dude,
I don't know why that reminded me of that, but
that's my boy Maroon, dude. I love that
no
guy.
way. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a pretty small community, small and large community for computer science on TikTok, I would say at the same time. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised that you heard of it. I found that project to be really cool.
Yeah, we pop into each other's lives actually. Like when I live streamed Leak Code of Varun, who runs the whole Blue Hand coding thing, he did like the automation of his dorm room. He made all those TikToks. Yeah, we talk a lot. Well, not a lot. We used to talk a bit. That's really cool though that you know. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw a lot of his videos, like they blew up like crazy, but
Yeah,
I don't know how to
especially like the
use
pot one.
I don't know how to use Arduino. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Arduino or Arduino.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
tough.
leading on to the second question, what is the best computer science related project you've worked on during your time in college and why?
Ooh. I would say pipelines, but I don't want to rant about that again. So I guess second best project would probably be do hackathons count? I really want to talk about this hackathon that I went
I
to.
would I would definitely say they count because whenever I am given the opportunity to talk about something I've done with a project related to computer science, I could just yap about hackathons. So definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna do that. So Yeah, this hackathon that I went to for JP Morgan's Code for Good, that's sort of like their, I don't know, it's like part of their application process. It's weird. We're like all competing for an internship there. So I went there this year, sorry. No, last year. Last year I went there. And there was a company there called Welfare, where they were a nonprofit that they I guess groups they got food and they're like a food nonprofit. And they had this idea where there'd be a store and members who were part of this welfare company would be able to go in, get the food for themselves and quote unquote pay for it, like simulate it, but not actually pay for it because it's a nonprofit and they're trying to give out food. So they wanted to give the environment of like a Walgreens or something, I guess. So our idea was to make a POS system where you would put the food in and it would take a percentage based off of your income and other factors of that person. So we built that. And I think it was the more important part was less about the project and more about the teamwork and fast-paced environment that JP Morgan, I guess, had for us. That was like my first official hackathon ran by a company. So we had like our own like little name tags and stuff in our own teams. It was really cool. But yeah, I think that experience was pretty profound in my whole CS journey.
So the funny thing is, I believe it's the same thing we're talking about. I actually failed that test to do the code for good JP Morgan thing, but
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie, I know how to code like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I would literally just say JavaScript because that's the only thing that would actually be mattering in this case.
Right, right,
But
right.
I knew nothing about data structures and algorithms, and I wasn't really mad because I didn't take any classes so far for that. So
Yeah, of
so it's
course.
really not. It was kind of just like, yay, I took it. Yay, I failed. Yay, it's experience, but it's definitely
Hmm.
not something I looked to pass. It's pretty funny how you talk about that though.
That's
So
awesome.
have you been to any other hackathons?
Um, I've been to like local school ones, I guess. Like there's one ran by the SACE, Society of Asian Science Engineers or something like that.
St.
They had
John's,
a
right?
hackathon. It's everywhere. That's like a national, but yeah, St. John's I think has a section there. Stevens has one here. A lot of schools do. So they ran one here at our school, and I participated with a few friends. It was a good experience, but it wasn't like the professionalism of the JP Morgan one. It was more like we scrapped together something, put in like some dev posts, and then said, you know,
I relate to that because I actually so Rider University is about like an hour and a half hour train ride from New Jersey Institute of Technology, in which I went
Oh,
to in
NJIT.
October, November. So that
Uh-huh.
was my first hackathon. Oh my God, it was brutal. I took the train to get there like at 5 o'clock. I got back.
Dude.
It was not fun, but I was paired with some software engineer graduate student who actually is from India and he was doing his
Jeez.
studies there. So it was a pretty good
What?
learning. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we didn't finish the project,
Hmm.
but it was a really good experience. I was extremely tired after that. But
Yeah, they're awesome, awesome experiences.
yeah, so then what professional experiences have had the most profound impact on you so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't had much professional experience, unfortunately, but I guess going off of the little that I have, I did a quote unquote software engineer internship in high school for a local nonprofit. They like rebuilt laptops and gave them to kids who were financially incapable of getting technology like laptops and stuff. So what I did was I built like it wasn't even like actual coding. Like I built this with like Google Apps scripts and like Google Sheets and would just put it together. And pretty much it streamlined the whole volunteering process because how they originally had it, they had like three forms. They had to fill it out every single time that they came. So I made like a database where it would store it. So they only have to sign one form and like it would be like one form once a week. But yeah, I think that was pretty profound because it gave me my first like professional software engineering quote unquote again experience. But that yeah, that definitely like accelerated my love for coding. I was like, damn, I really, yeah, I would love to do this like every day.
You know the weird thing about how I got into coding? I remember this vividly. I was sitting at the lunchroom table, maybe in like 10th grade, and I opened Visual Studio Code. And I don't know how it got on my laptop, my school laptop, but it did. And I started typing things there. And all my friends happened to be like really into coding and building things. I just happened
Uh-huh.
to not be in that because I was also sitting with my friends from robotics. It happened to be. And they're like,
Hmm.
why are you using Visual Studio Code? You don't know how to code. I'm like, but it's funny because I remember it vividly because it was like the meme of like the year that's how I got into coding. But now I'm pretty involved in coding. I like to say that I spend hours of coding every week. But I
That's
mean,
so funny. Wait,
yes.
so you just like it was just there and you open it? We're just like wondering what it was.
Either that or I downloaded it prior and just completely forgot. But
That's so funny.
I might have downloaded it prior because someone wanted to maybe use my computer during robotics for coding and never ended up
Mm,
happening. And they just downloaded it without me even looking. But
right,
maybe that's another problem. I shouldn't be letting people download stuff on my computer, but that's another
right.
conversation. All right. So then what inspired you to start posting computer science content on TikTok?
Oh, so I've been doing content for a while. So when I was like 13, I used to post YouTube videos because I used to watch all those Minecraft YouTubers like Dan TDM, you know that guy?
Yeah,
Or Popular MMOs.
that was a crazy era.
Yeah, so I was in that era and I was like, you know what? I want to do what these guys are doing and I just posted like random YouTube videos. Like there's a video, if you scroll far enough on my YouTube channel, where it's like I like had the camera here and I'm like, I have a new pool, guys, and I go to the backyard and it's like flooded like this. My backyard is flooded. I don't know. I
So
just did stupid stuff like that.
so it's interesting you mentioned that it was almost like comedy trying to be funny in the beginning. So if anyone watches your TikToks or YouTube videos, you can instantly see that it's very insightful and informative, but at the same time, you like to have a sense of humor. What pushes you to have that sense of humor? Is that just how you are? Is that like the character that's built with TikTok and YouTube?
I think that was built off of the social media like path that I went down before. Because the whole point of my YouTube channel was just to have laughs and stuff. And then I started Twitch streaming after that. Unfortunately, I streamed Minecraft. That was not it. But the whole point of that as well was to just have fun with a bunch of people in Minecraft and just spend time and stuff like that. So I guess I brought that sense of like joy and like community into my TikTok, but also mix it with the informal bit that you of course need with like CS and stuff.
All right. And then this one might be controversial, but what's the best coding language and why would you say so?
Ah, that's tough. I mean, I know it's not Java. It
And
can't be
I'm just
Java.
saying HTML and CSS are not involved in this, and I hope you do not pick HTML and CSS.
Definitely not. I personally do not consider those programming languages actually. Um, that is in itself is controversial, but I gotta say, I would say if you asked me that like a few months ago, I would say JavaScript, but I recently learned about TypeScript and I love that. So I gotta say TypeScript, like a typed JavaScript, it fixes like a lot of the things that are wrong with JavaScript and it's just solid language. Love TypeScript.
And then for data structures and algorithms, if you were to take an interview right now, a technical interview right now, what coding language would you use?
Oh, I'd use Python, 100%. It makes everything so easy.
Because
I don't usually build stuff, but super easy.
the interesting thing is, I'm trying to learn it in Python, but everyone keeps saying, no, go with Java, Java, Java. And then I think back to when I tried learning just basic in Java, and there was like 5 or 6 lines of code just to print hello world. And
Yeah.
then in Python, it's like one. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. But
I would say I think learning data structures and algorithms in Java is the best way of doing it. But if once you do the interview, I would learn how to do those things in Python just because it makes it a lot easier. But learning it, I agree with that. Definitely learn it in Java first.
yeah, because I already teach children in Python. I could probably teach them JavaScript, but I just instantly click with Python. And in comparison to Java, it's like, wow, why would I do that to myself?
Yeah, that's also a good point though.
Yeah. And then what would be some advice you would give to individuals trying to learn data structures and algorithms?
That's a good question. if they haven't taken like their data structures and algorithms classes yet, or they don't have classes, I think using YouTube is probably the best course of action, just because YouTube visualizes these data structures and algorithms in ways that even like some teachers can't do. So I would say like get a really good YouTuber who explains these concepts in a way that you really understand it. I used Abdul Bari if you want a recommendation. He saved me during that class. So definitely use YouTube.
I've definitely heard of that name because anytime I search up data structures and algorithms, it's always like videos that either are so long and so confusing.
Yeah.
I think I've actually watched one of his videos, to be honest, but that's besides the point. Anyways, that was our last question. So thank you for sharing your valuable insights with us and expertise with us. And that wraps up episode 5 of the 15-minute coffee podcast with Brandon Salazar. We hope you've enjoyed gaining insights from our guests and exploring the world of business with us. Don't forget to check the podcast out on our social media at the 15-minute coffee podcast on YouTube and Instagram for upcoming episodes. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.